Okay, we should have audio now. Now, here's the crazy thing. I guess the last few minutes was just all muted. Is that, Doctor? So no one heard me? OMG. All right, so let's start it all over again. And I'm glad people were telling me this. Okay, there is audio now. All right, so sorry about that. Almost for the last 4 minutes, you weren't hearing me at all. Ouch. My apologies. And it's really interesting. You should always check your settings. So I've done over 6,000 of these things, and things still happen. But you know what? When you have a good group of people around, they'll say, hey, Dr. Vibe, something isn't right. And good, we got that clarified. So okay, you know what? I'll just do it really quick, Dr. Vibe, because there's things there that people need to know that I have to say again then. So welcome to the Morning Vibe, broadcasting live February 27th, second last day of February in the month. And I'm glad to have you here. My co-host Ryan Knight will not be here today. He is at a Black History Month event. He's known as hashtag Gala King. So he's out and about. So he's doing his thing. As always, realize that you're watching me. And again, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, co-host and co-producer of the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that has reached directly and indirectly over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. How have things been for you this week? Are you still celebrating Black History Month? Actually, read a very interesting article by periodic guest, Perry Douglas. It's posted on buyblacks.com saying Black History Month is basically symbolism these days. And we're trying to get Perry on a week from this Monday. But then, because it's filling up the regular friends we have on, but we're going to see if we can get Perry on. And I've read the article, read it to some people, and there's a lot of people that are in agreement that Black History Month has become a lot of symbolism. So you can put that in your pocket. What do you think about that? Again, and then last night, I don't know, I'm repeating myself, but you know what? You couldn't hear me for the first 4.5 minutes of this. Last night, had the pleasure of having LaRon Barton, who was first on the Dr. Vibe show about 10 years ago and was talking about the controversy about what happened at the BAFTAs, British Art, Film, and Television Awards, I believe that's what it's called. How Michael B. Jordan and also Delroy Lindo were called the N-word during their presentation of an award by his gentleman as Tarat. And it was quite an interesting conversation. And LaRon went all in, like LaRon always does. He goes all in. So let's see some things. We've got... okay. All right. So Ray, yes, you can hear me now. Fantastic. Fitness IQ Cam says, "Morning." So good to have you here this morning. And what's been going on in everyone's world is watching live on replay. What's up? What's been going on? How you been doing this week? Been a very interesting week for myself. A lot of interesting things going on. It's a little swervy, but we're staying through. Weather here in the Toronto area has been okay, but not a lot of sunshine. I've been noticing, and there's people who I realize get affected by not seeing a lot of the sun. And this last few months have not been too bright sun-wise in Toronto. And they're saying winter's gonna go on for a while, which I'm sick of winter this year. I'm definitely sick of winter. All right, let's see if there's anything else we need to take care of before we go on break. Okay, I think we are good. All right, so what we're going to do is go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll do some housekeeping and then have a wonderful friend on the show.
Check out Black Men Can Talk live on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe, Kofi Sadat, and Kofi Morris, where Black Canadian men come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community.
Watch Black Canada Talking live on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe and Cesar Diva Musa give their takes and POVs on news stories from a Black Canadian perspective.
There we go. And I just thought about, I really enjoy, I enjoy every day of the week, but Sundays are really nice because on Sundays, the conversations, well, I co-host or co-host them, but they're all led by Black men, sharing about really important topics that are important to them. That is a blessing and a privilege. So please check out on the Sundays. Oh, so Ray says here, I'm one of those people. The winter darkness really bothered me when I was in Toronto. One of the things that was a catalyst for my relocation. Yeah, my dad would call what we've been having over the last 2 weeks in Toronto days of night. Yeah, it's daytime, but it's just dark. Dark. Can't deal with it. All right, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And as always, please, if you're gonna subscribe, at least watch or engage. We would appreciate that big time. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Join our Discord group. Please email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And to advertise your business product or service on our platform, please email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And also, too, an encouragement here, help shape the morning vibe. So take our 2-minute audience survey. Your voice matters. So click on the following link. So I'll also put that in the comments section in most of the platforms you're watching this live on replay, and also be pinned to the top of this post on YouTube. I usually do one other thing, but you know what? The person that's behind Indie Soup Media is with us today, and we're going to have a good conversation. She was supposed to be on a few weeks ago. Didn't happen for some reasons, but she is back, and good to have Dr. Tachi in the house. What is going on, Dr. Tachi? You are on mute now, Dr. Tachi. Don't be like me.
Sorry.
Man, you see, I don't want to spread what I've got this morning.
Well, it's too late because the reason I'm using this camera is because the other one didn't turn on for some reason. It turned on, but it's blank. I said, I don't have time to mess with it. So today it is the onboard camera, which I always say don't use.
How you keeping?
I'm keeping well. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Was glad you could catch a bit of the conversation last night.
It was really good. Very good.
LaRon was wow. LaRon really brings it. So I know when he's on, he says he wants to come on upcoming months. I said, anytime, we'll make time, because he first came on my platform about 10 years ago.
10 years?
Yeah, 10 years ago. That's the first time. So I'm very humble when people want to come back that have been on this platform. And you and I have known each other for a fair amount of time too. It's
11 years.
I don't know if it's double.
This is year 11.
Yet. Oh, how many?
Year 11.
Oh my. Okay. There's something about longevity and consistency out there, but this is great. Before we get into our conversation topic today, I want to get your take. Less than 24 hours ago, something happened in the media space.
Okay, which something? Now I
think one of the big things is it looks like Paramount now is going to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. So before we get into, I'd love to get your take on that.
Yeah, so this is very interesting. I saw that right away, and of course I posted. I said, "Oh, okay." Once I did all the due diligence to make sure that, so this actually happened quite like not midday, like in morning of yesterday, and they accepted the bid. Now, what happened is Warner Brothers Discovery had accepted Netflix's bid, right? But there was this whole hostile takeover bid situation that Paramount was leaning into. And so they offered more money, right? The thing with Netflix initially was that it was cash, and that's the cash is king. So if you have cash in hand, that's what people usually go for. But it was significantly more once they went back and retooled it Paramount, that is. And so they gave Netflix time. They had until March 4th to actually come up with a counter bid. And they said, no, that's okay. So because they were not prepared to bid more than what they had. So this is interesting too, because Netflix was already in the process of going to quote unquote lobby to make sure that this went through. So now what's interesting is Paramount, who is that?
Larry Ellison.
Ellison. So Ellison and the Ellisons are quite friendly toward the administration.
Yes.
For now, until he decides they're not. So I'm wondering what type of regulatory hurdles they will need to jump through, if at all, because of that status.
How much do you feel the president of the United States had influence on this deal?
If I have to answer this question,
you don't have to. All right.
I think you know that so many people in these corporate media circles are moving in ways to appease the administration because they don't want any trouble. Listen, if you ask me, it's not even that they're all on board and they love everything that's being done. I would hope they're human and do not, but we can't say who's human and who's subhuman in these days. But because they probably we don't know what they feel, but I'm guessing they're not in love with any of this. You know what they are in love with? Their money. They love it. So whatever they have to do, money supersedes all for many of these people. Therefore, whatever they have to do to ensure they get the most money and have the most power, because here's the thing, it's not even, the money is a drop in the bucket for Paramount to expend, because they're concerned about reach and power and market share. So now you've got two very large legacy media companies banding together. And then it's sad, actually. Not that people shouldn't be able to buy companies if they don't want, but this is the reason we have antitrust and anti-monopoly rules in place, so that we don't have one company owning everything across the board. So now you have one company that really has their hands deep in entertainment. That reduces consumer choice, and that's what the troubling thing is. Now, I always contend that as consumers, you do have choice and you don't have to watch them. The problem is the average, let's say, American is not going to be fine and upright and not watch them. There's so because we also, even if we have really progressive views on some other things, we kind of talk ourselves into this is okay, right? It's not so bad. It's just me watching this. It's only me. But how many it's only me's doing it, which is what adds up to the people who watch and partake in this. And then that's why they're allowed to continue.
I want to spend a few more moments on this because it is related about content and tools and things like that.
Yes.
And I've been listening to some other commentators about this. This could have a really big impact on a lot of things, like the future of CNN.
Yeah.
It's going to if this goes through, the content we're seeing there now is drastically going to change in the next few months.
Will it? Because I'm not a CNN watcher anymore.
Neither am I.
If you know, well, maybe you know Africans. Listen, it used to be the pinnacle of your existence if you were seen on CNN, because Africans, CNN was their thing. Now, that could also be because there were not as many major international news sources at one time. So you did have the BBC, but the BBC is very particular in the way it's like just the facts and that's it. So then you have something like a CNN that comes on the scene in, I don't remember what year, but it was in the 80s. And You should have seen my father would be glued to CNN. Africans love news. How about
Yes.
that?
So do
I just-
Caribbeans.
Oh, see, okay. So we're all from the same
Yes.
cloth. So of course we love those types of things, and I think it's because we like information and education, and because of that, we gravitate towards sources that are going to do that. However, sometimes the sources are not so great, but they did love CNN. So I don't think, though, that is going to be any different because CNN has really significantly changed since its inception. It has significantly shifted the news agenda, the way they report things, who reports things. All you have to do, I'm sure, is talk to Don Lemon and he can tell you that type of thing. All you have to do is talk to Roland Martin. He can tell you that type of thing. Same thing with Angela Rye. So these are people that you don't see any longer on CNN, but had a hand in helping to shape the news agenda and the way we view news. So now that they've started getting rid of, in my opinion, dynamic ways of reporting news and reporting information a long time ago to the point that we are now. So is there really going to be any difference once Paramount takes over? Not so much, maybe more overt in the way they do things, but it will be the same.
What impact does this have down the road in regards to what sort of films are going to be produced and what sort of images we're going to see? Because people don't realize I've listened to commentators talk about the financial side. This is a very expensive deal. And I've heard comments saying, you watch, there's going to be cuts, because Ellison's are business bottom line people where people thought Netflix, at least they had a sense of creating movies, creating films, whereas the Ellisons are more tech content based. Your thoughts?
There'll definitely be changes. There will be cuts. There were already cuts once they banded together with, why am I forgetting their name? The deal they just did.
Oh, CBS.
No, not CBS. Why can't I think of the name of it? It will come to me. But they just did a deal. What was it, last year? And so there were cuts when that merger happened. Whenever there is a conglomeration, if that's a word, or merger of companies.
M&A, merger and acquisition, M&As.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever that happens, you are going to get staff cuts of certain features, etc. On our side, that happens because, remember, all of these companies are beholden to shareholders, and the less money you spend means more money for their pockets. Doesn't matter what we like. It only matters what we like insofar as we keep watching. So everyone tries to press the envelope as far as they can just before we say we're done with you. And then they're like, no, come back. And then they reel it back in. So there really is not concern for the consumer or the viewer in this case, especially because if we look at the people that are the owners of these companies, these are not people that are media experts. They may be business people, but they're not media experts. So they don't understand the fine points of audience retention and things like that. This is why mainstream media, broadcast media, cable media, if there's any such a thing anymore, is in the predicament it's in now because they refuse to change with the time. So they'll do little changes here and there as is necessary, but by and large, they don't want to change anything. There's a whole big uproar now. Now, and this is more local stations, but this is all the same because a lot of these large station groups, we're talking about like Sinclair, we're talking about Nexstar. That's the thing that I knew it would come to me. Nexstar. Okay, so there all these companies, these larger companies that own a whole lot of station groups or station groups that own a whole bunch of stations in different markets, right? So what's happening now, and this has been for the past, it has to be 10 years at this point. It is maybe about 8 years. They've been talking about a broadcast standard called ATSC 3.0. which would replace the current broadcast standard that we use in the US. People have been so resistant to changing it. The ATSC 3.0 actually means a better viewing experience for the viewers, and there are more things that you can do in terms of interactivity, but they've been resistant to it. And I do understand why, because changing everything over costs money. I'm sure it was the same. In fact, it was the same argument, get off my lawn, when it came to switching from standard definition. Remember the old TVs? We had the 4:3 format. From changing from that to the HD that we have now, right? Which is 1080 by 1920. So what you're seeing here now is this HD. Right. So that is, for those of you watching, this is HD. So there was a switching over to high definition, even though we knew it was something that was going to be a better viewing experience. It costs money to switch everything over. So that's the resistance here. So if there's resistance on the local level to these types of things, don't you think there would be resistance on a larger scale to this? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's cyclical, because whatever people resist at the top, people at the bottom also resist, and vice versa. So there are definitely going to be changes there. Look for more layoffs, as I said. Look for differences in offerings as well. It won't be all cuts. There will be lots of cuts, but there'll be differences in the way they try to do things. And mark my words, as they'll be like, oh, we will offer a better experience and it won't. It won't, because they don't know how to offer a better experience. If they did, they would have been doing it by now. All we have to do is look at CBS's numbers. How many of you all, well, I know a lot of you are not in the US, but you do get CBS.
Well, we have a lot of people, but we get CBS here also.
Right. You do get CBS up there. And there are a lot of Americans I know. So let's just talk. How many of you all watch anything CBS? Maybe there's one or two programs. But
I'll be honest, the only thing I watch somewhat, and it's on delay, is 48 Hours. Other than that, nothing.
I haven't watched CBS in years, because there's nothing there to draw me. Okay. So when you're talking about certain generations, I would say all generations, but when you're especially, so CBS caters to an older demographic. Watch that they are going to try and draw in younger people, because these older people are not going to be here forever. You've got to get in new audiences in order to thrive, and not even just thrive, survive. So they're going to be looking at ways to draw in younger audiences for soon, but not soon, if that makes any sense. Because again, legacy media likes to stay with what they know and what they have, and they don't make a change until 100% necessary. They don't see the TikTok generation as 100% necessary right now. So they're not going to make any changes. And that is going to dig them into a further hole, an expensive one at that.
Okay. One last thing before we get to what we're supposed to talk about today.
Yeah.
With the Ellisons, Paramount, Warner, how much closer are we now to, how much closer is America, because I'm not living in America, to state-controlled media?
That is an excellent, excellent query. I think the answer is it depends. It depends on, because this is what we're looking at. If we look at, let's go back to the Jimmy Kimmel thing, right? And the fact that ABC snatched him off the air. They weren't asked to do that. They just preempted on their own, right? If we look at what happened with Stephen Colbert, right? And the interview that he did with, who's the candidate for Senate running against you?
Can't remember. I'll find that out. But one other thing, you were asking, CNN started on June 1st, 1980.
So it was 1980. That's the same year that MTV started. So that was in 1980 was the start of the cable revolution. Okay, so thank you for that. So what we're looking at is companies, media companies that are voluntarily relinquishing their power to the administration preemptively, right? Because there's always talk of as soon as something happens, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and the stupid FCC will comply, right? And threaten to pull licenses. And this is the thing: if you don't have a license to broadcast, well, then you don't have a network or a station. So I see where that fear comes from, but the fear is unfounded. And this is why I keep looking at them like, you had the power to go home all along, Dorothy. So I don't understand why you don't click your heels and get yourselves out of this mess, because the underlying theme here is money, a lot of it. And if you all said, oh, no, you're not going to bully us like that, what would they do? But you're allowing yourselves to be bullied. And again, I'm not placing blame here, but you are allowing yourself to be bullied. And so because of that, they're relinquishing the power. Once you do things like that, it's easier and easier for the state to take over these media outlets and these media companies. Why do you think they are so now paying attention to independent media? Because now what's happened is people are like, you know what? I should have seen this before. I knew I couldn't trust you before, but I kept coming back because I liked 48 Hours, right? I kept coming back because I liked 48 Hours, but I knew I couldn't trust you before. Now I know I can't trust you. You have seen me, and in the words of Maya Angelou, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. I didn't do it the first time, but I'm doing it now. So I'm jumping ship and I'm going to independent media, right? But then there's the onslaught of independent media. However, the thing with independent media is we don't give a damn. Okay, we're still going to do what we do regardless of what you say. You heard when it came to Don Lemon, he's like, oh, you're not going to bully me, right? Same thing with Georgia Fort, the journalist in Minnesota. You're not going to bully me. So what's happening is independent media, they are standing on their two legs and saying, well, no, we are the media. You are not going to bully us. Something that mainstream media is not doing and doesn't have the luxury of doing, because they're way too dependent on the regulation from the FCC and the beholdenness to the shareholders. That's a messy situation for them. So in a way, I can kind of see it's not as simple as we would like to make it. At the same time, it's very simple, because guess what exists? YouTube. If you were that serious about you're not going to bully me, just like not Colbert, but well, Colbert does do this, but Jimmy Kimmel's like, that's fine. We're taking our stuff to YouTube. And they were like, just whatever, whatever.
Okay. Just to follow up with you, the gentleman you were thinking about in regards to the Stewart Colbert, James Tallarico.
Tellerico, yes.
Tellerico.
I was like, what? His name is on the tip of my tongue. I was thinking television. Tellerico, yeah.
Yeah. So in the house this morning, Opal Inspired says, good morning, everyone. Opal Inspired is in the house. Shelter says, good morning, specifically to Dr. Tachi.
Hey.
And Ray says, I only watch news that pertains to my local city neighborhood on TV. The rest I watch from trusted platforms or read.
Excellent. And we should pay attention to news. It's just the news sources you pay attention to. You definitely should know what's going on locally. And I have to admit, I don't pay as much attention to local as I should. I probably should pay attention more, but I don't know. Their voices annoy me.
Jeez. Well, and local is the stuff that impacts people the most, the local news.
It is. The local and regional, that is what's going to have the impact on you the most. The same thing with politics, local and regional is what really affects the everyday person. So these are the things. But again, we tend to put more importance on what's national, and not that it won't affect you. It may, but local and regional are really the things that matter. So find a trusted local and regional source. There are all sorts of great sources. And I would say also, for those of us that check out the independent media in your trusted independent media in your area. Also, I can't remember the name of the organization, but in the US, there's an organization of all of Black media. I think it's the National Black Press Association. I think that's what it's called. So it's a conglomeration of different newspapers, Black newspapers, Black owned newspapers. And there are some now they're moving into digital media as well. But there's so many, and probably your community has a Black newspaper. So support Black newspapers, definitely. This is how they're able to get out there and report news. And they do a great job of them. We have, I think, 3 here. Go ahead.
I see an organization called Black Press of America. Maybe that's it.
It's
NNPA.
NNPA. Yes, that's it. NNPA.
Yeah, NNPA.
Yes.
So yeah, they call themselves Black Press of America, the NNPA there. Yeah. Yeah, National Newspaper Publishers Association.
That's it. National Newspaper. I was like, is it the Black Press? Yeah, National Newspaper. Yep. So they do a lot of great things. And in fact, they often will broadcast live on Instagram and on YouTube from the different events that they're at. So we also, last night, you had on someone that has an amazing platform, the Daily Scrum. So let's support, and not just in your local community, but I would say internationally, all of these great news sources so that you get to know what's happening. Because local is important, but we're also international citizens.
Okay, just a correction. LaRon has nothing to do with the Daily Scrum. Donovan coming up on Monday is part of the Daily Scrum.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's
yes,
okay. It's okay. There's so much information going on these days. No worries. Well, you know what? Why don't we get to our conversation topic today? I knew that we had to address the Paramount buyout of Warner Brothers Discovery, and there's a lot of fallout from that for many years to come. But I would say people who are in the acting and entertainment game, you better get on your fire and start thinking, what's my next move now? Don't think about when it hits you.
Yes.
Production wise, you'll see probably production teams definitely be reduced, but that's a whole other conversation piece. But let's talk about best tools to start level up your content in 2026.
Definitely. So I love the fact that you were talking about this. This leads into what we're going to talk about. Definitely, it's all related, because what's happening now is, remember I was saying that they're not necessarily in the interim, but very soon we'll be looking at new sources for content, and it's already happening. So let's talk about, first, I'll talk about some tools, but I want to talk about this concept of micro dramas. Do we know about micro dramas?
Heard the term, but I haven't dug into it. But go ahead,
let's dig. This
Okay.
is if you can't tell, I get so excited about this stuff.
That's why we have you on.
Well, thank you. And I want you all to be excited about this as well, because there are so many ways that even if you are not a content creator, you need to be. You are a content creator. If you're in business, you need to be a content creator. That's all I can say. Because what's happening is that micro dramas are the thing. Now, micro dramas got really big in Asia, particularly like China and Korea. They're vertical, right? You could call them verticals as well. Vertical video that are 1 to 3 minutes long, that are generally scripted. But, in my opinion, well, it's a micro drama. I would say micro content, but in this case, I'm talking about micro dramas. So they're scripted 1 to 3 minutes of a continuous story. Right? It's serialized. And these are big, thick, huge. I already watch a lot of this on social media because there are lots of people that are doing these types of things. There is I think I may have talked about this before, but there is an anime created by a Black creator, and he actually went to an HBCU. I don't remember which one, and it's kind of gruesome. I will say this, but it is well done. It's called Grinlock, and it's on YouTube and Instagram. And I'll give you a little bit of a backstory of this. He was kind of like a shy, if you think of Peter Parker is the best way, the Spider-Man that I could think to put this, someone that is kind of shy and to himself, and he ends up in a scuffle. He was bullied, ends up in a scuffle, ends up really badly hurt, and becomes Grinlock. So he's got this kind of diabolical permanent smile. But his thing is to avenge for the Black community. So they have something called, what is it called? It's the CIA, but not the real CIA. It stands for something else, right? And so they're constantly trying to, for example, tear down Black communities, put things in Black communities that would decimate and dismantle. And so that is his mission, to constantly go against these demons that are doing these things. So while it's a little bit gruesome, it is so well done and the message is there and it's serialized. So there are so many things like that, whether they're animated or real life, that are popping up. And there's another one that I watched called Shattered Illusions. And she is out of, she lives in Baltimore, well, in Maryland anyway. And ironically, I found out she went to Morgan State. I was like, hey, I used to be a professor at Morgan State. So, and and it was really interesting. So she does this thing called Shattered Illusions, and it is a play on the soap operas from the 80s. So she actually goes to thrift stores, gets clothes from the 80s, and she plays all the characters. And so it's like an 80s soap opera. Very interesting. There are a lot of things like that. So this is what media, independent media, we're leaning into, creators are leaning into, and guess who's doing this too? Fox. Fox has a whole slew of, they're accepting a whole slew of serialized content that's vertical and that's like micro drama, because they see where this is going. Are we surprised? Remember, Fox owns Tubi, so they're trying to make money. They are trying to make money, point blank. So while I'm like that can offer an opportunity for most of us, probably not. Okay, remember, it's still traditional independent media. They may work with some different people, but they have an in somehow. So not to discourage you, but I'm saying you're better off producing it and releasing it yourself, distributing it yourself. So I'm saying all of that to say, if you pay attention, you can look to the areas that media is going. Now, does it have to be a serialized thing for you to make micro content? No, it doesn't have to be a micro drama, but you could decide that, and I used to do this and I need to get back to it. Well, I was a big Snapchatter. Like in its early days, I was on Snapchat every day and I used to do Mediascope Brief. So of course that was vertical content, and I gave the news media brief, media tech and pop culture briefs daily, right? So that wasn't serialized necessarily because news changes from day to day, but it was something that I was doing on a consistent basis. So a lot of us were kind of early in the game. If you use Snapchat or whatever for the vertical content, we were like early in the game. So there's that when it comes to that. So look at what's happening and you can decide what you need to acquire to make it happen for you. I suggest that you not only look at what's happening, but look at what's going to happen so that you can kind of future-proof your content, so that there's never a question of I don't have. It's like all I have to do is adjust, right? It's as simple as something like those of us that are using, so all right, this is vertical. I'm sure we know this. This is horizontal, widescreen, right? So traditional television is widescreen. If you are shooting widescreen, that's fine, but you also need to figure out ways so that you can shoot vertically. Part of that is, okay, so a lot of us use phones. I have a professional camera, which didn't turn on today, but whatever, I have a professional camera. So so if you're using a professional camera, figure out, all you need is a tripod that will allow you to turn it vertically so that you can shoot vertical content, right? So you should have things, and in that case, that's as simple as having a tripod that allows you to do that. So it may not be, I need to get another camera to do X, Y, and Z. It may be, I need to get some other peripherals that will allow me to use what I have in a different way, because I'm a firm I'm a firm believer, I should say, in start where you are, right? Use what you have, until it no longer serves you. And then you could probably figure out other ways to use it, to continue using it. In addition, as tandem. So did you want to ask me something? Because I'm going on and
No. Well, I love when you're passionate, and I love to give you space. I do want to say you were talking about these dramas. It's the emphasis on a lot of platforms such as YouTube is short form, short content. What are your thoughts about that?
well, short form is huge and there is an emphasis, but there's still room for long form as well. I think when we look at this, sometimes we look at audience trends, but we're not looking at the entire picture. So while here's the thing with YouTube Shorts, and you know this, we love it for this, the fact that you can be discovered easily with a live now. Whereas before it was more so actually uploading a short and creating separate content from what you normally do in order to be discovered, which may or may not happen. But what we've seen is that people really like live because they like to be acknowledged in the moment. And when you go live vertically on YouTube, you can draw in audiences that you normally would not. So your horizontal content will draw in your subscribers, your normal audience. The vertical content, though, goes out in the shorts feed. And what do people do with the shorts feed? They swipe, they swipe, they swipe. They get to your live video, and they get to your live video and they may stay a while. Not only may they stay a while, they may actually go and visit your channel and then subscribe because they like what they heard. How many times that you've seen this in real time?
Well, hey, if I have your permission to interrupt, a few weeks ago on Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala was there, and Aisha couldn't make it, but Dr. Tachi was there. And we did a broadcast, and it was definitely because of the vertical broadcast. It had over 14,000 views, which is just, and so like I'm chatting with people once, I go, what happened on this show? Said, hey, I don't know. But not only that, but I gained a lot of subscribers from that. And people say, oh, what is this show? Got 14,000. So the residual effect of it. And definitely, I would say to people to choose tools, and I agree with Dr. Tachi, live streaming, there's so much stuff you can do with it, not only live, but repurposing. There's so many different avenues that you can produce residual content from a live stream. But I really suggest that when you're doing content, if you're going to do video, and I suggest you do, aim for this. Aim for this. Because this is a device that people are on more than their laptop, on average, more than their laptop or desktop. Aim for this.
I agree. I would add, though, that there are things that you can do because here's the other thing with this. Definitely vertical is the thing. So you have some choices. You can record 2 sets of content, for example. You can pretend you're recording content and not live. You could do 2 sets. You could do something that's short form that you know is going to be vertical, and your longer form can be horizontal, right? It could be either vertical or horizontal, but horizontal. So you could do that, but that takes time. You could also say, I'm just only going to record vertical and let that be the thing. But then, here's the thing. If for some reason it's not repurposable on all platforms, like, for example, if something is vertical, it looks weird when you watch it in a horizontal stream on YouTube because you've got the 2 black bars on the side. So, that's the thing. So here's the thing. If you're recording content that you can do, that I would say to do. So like we are here, if I was going to say I want to repurpose this for vertical content, I would actually sit a little farther back. Because the farther back you sit, or I would, well, I'm not using my other camera, but if it was my other camera, I would adjust the lens so that I was not as close. Because, excuse me, when you're a little farther back, you have room to crop yourself in the middle, which you can then use for vertical content. Does that make sense? If you're too close and you
100%.
crop it, your eyes are going to be all in the lens, all in the camera, and it's going to be too big. But I mean, and that's the nice thing about using a good camera. But if you don't have a professional camera, no problem. What I would say to do is to actually sit back a little bit, not so far back that it's going to look weird, but sit far enough back that you can then, or be far enough away from the camera so that you can then crop the middle and use that for your vertical content. This way you have your horizontal, and with your horizontal, you can actually stretch it so that you don't look so far back in editing software. And then you have your vertical for shorts, reels, TikTok, whatever you want to use it for. So that's something that I would say that would stretch the content you have, the aspect ratio of the types of content.
There you go. All right, continue on, because I know you got more to share.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about this. What I'm not giving a pass for anymore in 2026. In fact, that's really what we're talking about today. You know, what to do, how to level up in 2026, or let's say it the way they would say it down here, what we're not finna do in 2026. We're not doing this anymore. So I've been giving passes to people for certain things, but we're not in the days of the heavy pandemic where people didn't know what to do. People didn't know how to frame themselves properly. So, you know what? I gave you a pass, but here's the thing with giving people a pass. They keep leaning on that pass and never improve. So this is what we need to do this year. We need to definitely improve the way we're doing things. So let's talk about, for example, background. You see Dr. Vibe, I'm giving away your secrets now, but if you look at how Dr. Vibe looks, he is on a background that he created. He's using a green screen. So we're not if you are going to do something like what Dr. Vibe is doing, which lots of people do if you're doing some sort of news program, if that's what you're doing, or even if you're doing scripted and you want to have a different background behind you, that's fine. You see this all the time on Instagram and TikTok where people are talking about news articles that are behind them, right? They put the news article up, but sometimes, excuse me, they fade in and out. And of course, I forgot my water, but if I need it, I'll get it. They fade in and out because they don't use a green screen. So what we're going to stop doing this year is, if you want to use a green screen effect, which most platforms have, which most software has, you are going to get a green screen, get an actual green screen. They're not very expensive. You can even go as far as, if you're like, oh, that's too expensive, if you go to the dollar store, or now here, the $1.25 store, because it's not a dollar anymore. If you go to, there used to be one in Toronto called the Looney Bin back in the day.
We've got Dollarama, we've got Dollar Tree.
Oh, you've got Dollar Tree. Okay.
Yeah, but there very few things are dollar at either one of those places.
No. Yeah, even like Family Dollar, the name is a misnomer because nothing in there was ever a dollar. But exactly. So if you go to like a Dollar Tree or something, they sell tablecloths that are the exact green of a green screen. You could tape that up behind you and use that, and you've only spent like $1.25 for it.
Yes. Yep.
So that is something easy and simple that you can do, and absolves you of excuses for not doing it. Because if you want a cleaner, professional look, and here's the thing, I understand that people are accepting of that now, that because of social media, people have gotten used to imperfect video, and I think that's okay. I think that's fine. But if you want something, here's the thing, everybody's making content now. Everybody's doing that. So I was watching something, it was actually a piece of content where there was a young woman who is a singer. She lives in New York, and she said, well, I thought, when I first got here, my thing was, I sing really well. I'm going to be able to do this. And she said, I got to New York and realized everybody can sing and dance. Everybody is excellent. So what's going to set you apart? So she said that one of her, and she was talking about college and how they really didn't teach you practical things to stand out. So she said one of her professors did this with them. He came on, he did a read, he put a chair and he turned it upside down, and then he did his monologue or whatever, and then he left. And they were like, well, what was the purpose of the chair? Well, now they'll remember me. I didn't do anything with the chair, but they'll remember me as being different. So using that as a metaphor, you have to stand out. So yeah, maybe everybody's using the green screen effect and it's all janky, but how are you using it differently? And one of the ways of using it differently is using it well. People are going to notice when you do a good job with that. So even though audiences are accepting of the imperfections in social media, that doesn't mean you have to be imperfect. And in fact, people will notice that you do a really good job with your lights, that you do a really good job with your video, with the camera, the framing, when you do that. So it's worth it. Just because they're doing an imperfect job doesn't mean you have to be imperfect.
Yeah, you want to stand out from the crowd. And I think you also mentioned a good thing, also lighting.
So let's talk about that. You want to talk about lighting?
Absolutely.
So there's so many types of lighting. I've done a lighting workshop in the past, and I think I'm going to revive it and add some more things. There are simple lighting techniques you can use. So before we talk about technique, lighting is going to matter because that's the way people are going to see you. I would say number one is sound, because people will forgive a blurry or bad picture, but they won't forgive bad sound. They'll go away. So we'll talk about sound after, but leveling up were you going to say something? I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
We're good. No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Good. Leveling up your lighting 100%. So does that mean you have to go and spend a whole lot? No. Let's take the dollar store example. Now, you're not going to, if you find lights at the dollar store, you're going to get dollar store lights. Let me just say that. But there are things that you can do that are less expensive. And it just means playing around with the light to make sure you have the best for what you want to do. So number one is consider what it is you're doing. What kind of content are you producing? Are you doing similar to what Dr. Vibe is doing, similar to what I'm doing, which is like talk show / news? If that's the case, then you want bright, full light. You want to mimic what the industry has done so well in terms of news. Whenever you watch a news broadcast, do you see shadows? No, you don't, because the point is you want to be able to see the person who is talking. Dr. Vibe, will you give me a minute? I need to get water. So I'll be right back.
Get your water.
Okay.
No problem. Oh, just we'll fill it. So, hey, we're just taking a quick break. We're speaking with Dr. Tachi of Indie Soup Media about best tools to start level up content in 2026. So we're just checking in. If you want to get in touch with Dr. Tachi, there's a few things there. Indie Soup Media, the channel that she programs on YouTube. The link is there. There's a website, and then you can contact her directly on Instagram at dr_Tachi. That's TACHI. So she'll be back in just a moment. And I did put a question out there for people. And let me put it out here. So let me, I did put a question in the comments, but let me just encourage everyone here right now. And I'm going to create a banner in real time. So just bear with me. So whether you're watching this live or on the replay, hey, have you leveled up your content game with any 2626 tools yet? If you have, share your win or share your struggle. Dr. Tachi and myself are here to help you out with that. So have you leveled up your content game this year with any specific tools? Share your win or your struggle. Just want to make sure we put it out there. We've got a comment here. Opal Inspired has a comment, says, love the idea of green screen substitute. Yeah, you know what? And I think it's great that Dr. Tachi's meant that you could put a lot of money into this stuff. And I'm saying, times are tough for most of us. Be economical, the green screen solution. Yeah. And even go on eBay. And even if you have eBay or online sites that cover your community, that are in your community, and look at people, I'm going to say you shouldn't spend more than 10 to 15 bucks for a green screen. Even if you have to buy 2 or 3 of them and put together, you shouldn't have to spend 10 or 15 bucks. Dr. Tachi's back with her water. So welcome back.
Sorry about that. I'm like,
No,
how did
okay.
I forget? That's usually the first thing I place. And today I forgot all about it. And of course, the day I don't have it is the day I'm hacking. So
No worries. No worries. Yeah. So where did we leave off?
So I heard you talking about the green screen and
Yeah.
that type of thing. And yes, try and do things as inexpensively as possible, especially if you're not sure that this is something that you're going to do long term.
Right.
I really dissuade people from jumping in and getting it. Now, they'll ask me, hey, can you give me some recommendations for XYZ? And I'm like, all right, well, what's your budget? And how long are you intending to do this? So you have to consider your budget, but you also have to consider how long you're intending to create content, be in this content world, which I contend everybody needs to be in, because back to the vertical thing, Crocs, the shoes Crocs, they are into vertical content now. And
Oh.
they, yes, actually have studios and stuff to shoot this content. So what's happening now is brands are the new
Yes.
studios,
Yeah.
which means businesses need to take this seriously. So that's
Mhm.
why we're having this conversation, so we can level up. So definitely, I love the idea, of course, of getting more than one, because if one is not enough, then get more than one. Now, how to use a green screen properly is a different conversation,
Yes.
because there are rules to it. FYI, you have to light your screen and light yourself. It's not just lighting yourself. You also have to light the green screen. And then you need to make sure you're far enough away from it so you don't get a green halo around you. So if you're really up on it, you are going to get some blowback or some reflection from the green there, and we'll be able to see that. But bring yourself away from it. It's the same concept as bring yourself off the wall, right? I had a whole Be More about get off the wall, like Michael Jackson's Off the Wall,
Yes.
because the closer you are to a wall, the less you're going to be able to do interesting things with it, right? And the more shadows you get. I'm so far away from the wall that I have a whole bunch of lights on, but you don't see near a shadow because I'm too far away from any wall for it to make a difference.
There you go. I want to flip a little bit. We've spoken a lot for the last few minutes about the video content. Do you have any thoughts about, best tools to start level up written content, especially with the rise of Substack and so many people going on to that platform? Do you have any, best tools or best practices when it comes to written content online?
Yeah, practice. The only way to become a better writer is to write. And so one thing that she hasn't done it in a while, but Heather, who's on Indie Soup Media, she used to do morning writing groups. So daily, we would meet for just about like half an hour or so.
Yeah.
Maybe 45 minutes at the most. But she would give writing prompts, and there would be different things. And I had a whole notebook for that, because what it does is it forces you to write. So she would give a prompt, then you would write. She would give you about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you would talk about what was in the prompt, any issues you had with writing, and she would kind of help you get unblocked and unstuck. And I think that is an excellent way.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
Right? And so you don't even have to be in a group to do that. I haven't looked, but I'm sure there are websites that have writing prompts. Or guess what? Ask ChatGPT. This is a good use of AI. Ask ChatGPT, listen, I'm trying to become a more proficient writer. Can you give me a set of date prompts I can use daily for the next 30 days?
I like that. I like her idea because it's building community. She's building a group online, and she's helping people solve a problem.
Yes. Yes, that's the thing. Community is the key to all of this. I mean, and if we were to start with anything, I think it's, have your eyes on building a community, right?
And I get, well, that leads into another thing. But before we go there, he's in the house. The food plane goes, hello, Dr. Vibe, and the one and only Dr. Tachi.
Yes.
DS here. Also says, what a nice surprise. He says, I missed a fun media scope this past week. However, I saw the replay. What are we talking about today? He says, we're talking about best tools to level up your content in 2026. And also,
yes.
You also say, I also saw you on another podcast. Are you going to be a regular on that show? Probably. For those who are subscribers, I'm now, and I don't know if Dr. Tachi remember, there was a gentleman named Sid McNary back in what was the platform that was all audio during the pandemic?
Get Vocal?
No. It was all audio.
They're now part of Spotify. Anchor?
No, it was an all audio, and it really blew up during the pandemic. It was all audio. Oh, see,
Clubhouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I met him back in Clubhouse days, and we somewhat keep in touch. And he asked if I wanted to join him and another group of men every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time to have a men's show. So yes, I'm pretty going to be much a regular on that Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So answers your question. And he also says to Dr. Tachi, nice t-shirt, Dr. Tachi.
It's actually an entire dress. So.
Okay. There you go. And yeah, thank you for enjoying the show, Food Plane. But yeah, the whole, like the Substack revolution, you're saying, write regularly, write consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that idea that lady had about that group. I haven't heard of too many things like that.
She's a fantastic writer, and it makes sense that she would do that. In fact, we've been trying to get her to bring it back, but because of everything happened, she's also a journalist, and she writes for a publication, or the publication is hers. She helped to start it in Minnesota. So
okay, she's been
not in Minnesota, Wisconsin. Sorry, she's in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin. So, but they're neighbors. So there's a lot going on. So she's been very busy with news reporting. But we're trying to get her to bring it back.
Yeah, that is a great idea. That is
I see the wheels turning.
Yeah, building up online groups. How important is that these days, especially in 2026, having your own home with your own people?
You need to have your own people. That doesn't mean that you have to start your own group per se. I know I've been resistant to it just because of the time it requires. And if you're going to have a group, you ought to have something for them to gather about. And I know me, I'm like, look, I don't have time you can make time for what you want, but I'm truly very busy. And so it would have to slow down a little bit for me to do that. But I think starting a group is having a place for people to gather is great. And honestly, I think you should do that anyway, because these social media platforms are not loyal. They can close at the drop of a hat, on the turn of a dime, at the turn of the century, whatever idiom you want to use. They could go away, and they could also decide not just to close, which we've experienced several times, Dr. Vibe, in the time we've known each other. How many platforms have we been on that just shuttered or pivoted, right? So that can happen, but they can also, at their whim, at their discretion, relieve you of your content as well, and relieve you of your account. I've known so many people that I built so many followers on this account, and Instagram just took it, or what? Well, you wouldn't have that problem if you also had an email list and a presence somewhere else. So that's the other thing. If we're looking at tips for this, you definitely need to have a way to contact your community that is away from the social media platform. You don't own social media.
A lot of people think they do, but again,
Okay, they'll see.
Two good points that Food Plane brings up here. I'm going to do his second one first.
Okay.
Also, the evolution of monetization.
If we look at the way monetization is now, it's a combination of different things, but people think of it as the platform paying you to make content. And there is some of that, but that is not the overwhelming amount. I think sometimes people see things like YouTube and they see these big YouTubers, they measure themselves against iShowSpeed, Mr. Beast, Marquez Brownlee, some of these larger YouTubers that have a huge presence in the millions. That have a huge presence in the millions. And you can't do that. That's not you. They're going to make a lot of money from AdSense. You probably will not, at least not initially. And so I think we need to change our definition of monetization, because the platforms are really looking for you to do it yourself. So you may get a little bite here and there. You may get some sneaker money, some coffee money, or tea money from a platform. But I'll tell you now, the most I've ever gotten from a platform, I got paid one time from Instagram for making reels. I got $50. That's it. I've never seen a dime since.
Wow.
Instagram is not in the business really of trying to help you monetize. That's not their thing.
They make money because of you, not
Correct.
They don't want, again, in an agreement like that, they're going to make sure that they get more out of it than you do. My suggestion is that you leverage it for other opportunities.
And that's the thing. Don't throw it all away. You can definitely leverage it to use for something else. Use that as a step for something else. But this is why you do things like gather your own statistics, meaning gather your own audience, right? Pay attention to the statistics on social media, but then gather those statistics makers and take them someplace else that you actually own, and you can directly interact with them. And it's not just about selling. I think people also have this miscommunicated fact that it's just about selling to your audience. I'll be the first to tell you that if you try to sell to me too much, I'm done. It's going to be a no-go for me, because I don't want to sit there and be sold to. I also have stuff to sell, so I don't need to buy from everybody all the time. I need to sell too. But that's why it can't be just about selling. There needs to be something of value that you are giving your community. Add value. We keep hearing this all the time. This has been said forever. You know who used to say, remember Alex Pettit from Periscope days? And he's on YouTube now too. But his thing was add value. Everybody said it, but he loved to say it.
It's interesting you mentioned that, and it's a gem we don't hear of as much as we used to, but hopefully that he's doing well. Mario Armstrong, I remember one of the things he said to me: teach more, sell less. Exactly.
Now, don't teach yourself into the poorhouse.
No, not a no. That's true. You're true. It's very, very true. You should
offer value. And I think the lovely thing is that you value your audience enough that they came to listen to you, and so you offer them something great. And here is a big thing, the gatekeeping that goes on. That doesn't mean you should offer everything for free. No. But remember, use this formula. So the what you can give people for free, excuse me, the why you could give people for free, the how you charge for.
There you go. That's well put. Well put. I had something I watched a very interesting video the other day, and this gentleman was saying we are all so into our YouTube stats, but it's not necessary, and it's a complex, but I'm trying to make it simple. He showed you his YouTube stats, but then when he looked at his funnel, the stuff that people clicked on wasn't exactly the same stuff that people went to for funnel or for purchasing. I thought that was fascinating because you get stats from platforms like YouTube based on their algorithm. It may not necessarily say what people really want, but based on their algorithm. I thought it was a fascinating conversation. I went, wow. And this gentleman has over 1 million followers, so he wasn't playing around. And he's been doing stuff on video for a long time.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite interesting there.
And that is interesting. And you brought this up before, and this is something that you do. And in terms of tools to help you level up, you ought to be asking your audience what they want to see and what is valuable to them. Yeah. So I might want to talk about chocolate bars, but you all are not interested in chocolate bars. You're interested in gold bars. What good is it for me to continue to talk about chocolate if you really want to hear about gold, right? And so one of the things is pay attention to what your audience is saying. Comments, that's one way to do it, but something you do a lot, you do polls.
Yeah, I haven't done as much as I used to in the past, but I'm getting back to that because that's really, really important to have that. I want to move. Food Plane is in serious, so here we go. His most recent question, also with my question about AI and how does that play into content creation?
So he had
no, I want to do this one first.
But it ties to that other question.
Yeah, it says, your thoughts on AI and IPs. How will this play out in the next 5 years? Well, even how is it playing out this year? Forget 5 years.
Oh, it's already happening. So when we look at something like the SAG-AFTRA, which is the actors union, voice actors union, and them really coming out hard and strong against AI. Same thing with a lot of artists that are musicians and AI music. AI works by training itself on models that already exist. Sometimes I think people think that AI materializes out of nowhere. It does not. It cannot create what does not already exist, right? It just does not happen. So it may put together things in novel ways, but the point is it's taken these things from someplace else. And so there are already a number of lawsuits. OpenAI is already involved in a number of lawsuits alleging that they used XYZ song, XYZ image to train the algorithm. And this is how it came up with this. Particularly with songs that are sounding very similar to other things. So it's already happening in terms of AI and people's IP. So in the next 5 years, I think this also depends on who we see in government in the next 5 years as well, when it comes to legislation. Because one of the things that I'm going to say is that we will probably see more legislation around this, but it depends on who's there to make the legislation and who is making the case for the legislation to be made. Sad state of affairs, but that's what's going to happen. So I think for the next 5 years, that's the thing.
Food Plane says, like opening a restaurant and not considering the demographics. You are serving people what you want, serving yourself and not what the area wants. Gordon Ramsay did that one time and never again. Yes.
Listen to what your audience wants, because ultimately they are there to learn from you, to gain something from you. They're there because of your personality as well, right? Something about you resonates, because very few people stick around for people that they don't resonate with, even if the information is good. I'm quick to turn away. Somebody may have great information, but if you are not presenting it in a way that engages me or that's palatable to me, unless I know you and I'm trying to support, I'm leaving.
Okay. Ray says, I was advised by a copyright and trademark attorney that content created using AI tools cannot be copyrighted.
Yes, they cannot.
Okay.
From my research as well, they cannot.
So let me ask, for creators leveling up, what's one underrated tool or app you're excited about for 2026 that changes video production workflows?
Now this is interesting because and I'm a techie. I love new tech, but I also am like, let me use what I have and level up what I have before I get something new. But I will say this. I really do like Canva. Canva for me before was so janky that, to the point, I've used it for a long time, since the beginning, since its inception, but to me it was really janky. And so it was just another tool I had, and I used more of Adobe things.
Right.
But then I started to notice that they really put a lot of resources into improving what they do. And so for things like, I do social media, for a realtor, I'm not going to sit there and use Photoshop to crop out. Who has time for that? I did that one time, and two times, and that was the end. I said there has to be a better way. And then luckily, all these other tools came about. These platforms had tools where you can remove background and do all sorts of things like that, right? So I really do like, excuse me, Canva for a lot of things. So Canva is one tool, but I use a slew of different things. So the nice thing about Canva is it does have different apps within it. Some of them you do have to pay extra for, though, use extra credits for, but it does have different apps inside it that allow you to do different things. So there's AI music creation, there's AI image creation. It does have a video editor in it, but I think it's not the all-encompassing tool for me, because I don't use it to edit. If I need to edit something serious, I'm using Adobe Premiere, right?
Right. Okay. Food Plane says, I like Canva. All right. He likes Canva. For me, I'd say a tool, and I continue to be one of the, is Agent Opus.
Oh yes, Agent Opus. I started playing around.
Yeah, and they're just the ability to create. So again, this is why live streams are so great. You have do a live stream, and it can slice it up into a whole pile search, which gives you a whole other part of content, and you can even schedule it on different platforms right from there. You don't have to go to another platform. I think Agent Opus is good. I don't mind Canva. I think it's okay. Again, I think for me, I haven't used it. I haven't gone in because I use it very high level. I don't really get deep into it. But I think one of the challenges for content creators this year is you having too many things to choose from.
Well, which is why you have to settle on what is going to be your tool. You don't have to use everything, because it's kind of like Cheesecake Factory. You go there and you get overwhelmed because there's 75 pages of menu, and you're like, what to eat? And so here's the thing. I don't really eat at Cheesecake Factory often, and I cannot attest to all the different things that they have there, because I found one thing that I like, and that's what I get every time, because I don't eat there that often. Right. Do that with your tech.
So this leads me into this conversation point with you. How do you recommend budgeting for tools, free tiers, one-time buys, or subscriptions for indie creators on a tight budget?
If you are on a tight budget, you have to assess what you are going to do and what the needs are. Don't go out and buy a $5,000 camera because you're now going to start shooting content when you don't have the budget for it. And you don't, first of all, you probably don't know how to use the camera, right?
There you go.
So you're going to have to spend more resources in order to know how to do it properly. And that doesn't mean more money. That means more time on YouTube or something, learning how to use it properly, right? So assess what your actual needs are. Here are the basic things you need in terms of creating content. Just very basic. Camera, lighting, sound, stabilization. You need your camera, and then you need your stabilizer so that you don't have shaky video. You need your lighting so people can see you, and you need the sound so people can hear you. So those are the basic things. Start there. Now, say, what do I already have? Many people already have a smartphone. I have a smartphone. I'm going to hold off on investing in any other camera because I can use this for right now and it works well. So, and it doesn't have to be the latest iPhone or latest. This is interesting. I was fine all morning. The moment I get on,
much longer, don't worry.
Now it's a problem. So it doesn't have to be the latest model. It just has to have shooting capabilities of at least 1080p, right? So at least 1080. That's all you need for right now. It doesn't even have to be 4K, but most newer phones also have 4K and 8K. Like my phone has 8K. I don't need to shoot in 8K.
Wow. Wow. So Food Plane says audio, audio, audio. I'm still learning. This is a suggestion. If you're looking to buy software and all that, if they have a monthly subscription, do a 1 month and see if you can understand the software. Can you use it? And do you see yourself using it for the long term? There are one or two there's one software I'm using right now that I purchased. I was all excited a number of months ago. Great, great, great. And I've put money and people aren't using it. Or I'm not getting my investment return back on it. So I'm deciding in the next few months, do I renew for another year? Yes or no? If they have a monthly plan, I maybe go with that, but I'm not going to go a whole year with it. No, it hasn't brought the return on investment, and maybe I haven't marketed it well enough, but I suggest, because most of us are on tight budgets, go for that 1 month thing, see if you're going to find use for it and say, okay, I feel I'm going to use this a lot, or I'm going to make time to use it. Okay, I'll go for a year then, because you don't want to put a whole bunch of money out for 1 year of a thing and you don't end up using it. Like I won something from another person's platform 2 or 3 months ago, won it for free. And I haven't made the time to use it. And when I try to use it, it's confusing to me. So I'm going, well, I'm glad I got it for free. I don't know if I would buy it because it's too confusing for me. So I would just say, if it's a paid subscription, see if you can get that first month and try it out and see if it fits into your framework and workflow.
That's excellent. And keep in mind that free doesn't always mean useful.
Yes. Example I just gave.
The example you just gave. Free doesn't always mean useful. So here's the thing. OBS is free when it comes to live streaming. But OBS also has a little bit of a learning curve if you're not used to it.
Yes.
It also doesn't work it works if you're a singular person, but if you need to bring in guests,
no,
you can't do it.
No,
because it's open source broadcasting software. It works well, but there's the learning curve. If you need to have guests, you can't really have them on easily. So you can, but remember, you're bringing that in as a layer. It's too much work. And for the average person, because I'm talking to you all as the average person who's looking to get into content creation or expand what they're doing with content creation, you're not a professional. You're not trying to, understand f-stops of your camera and all of that. You just really want something that's point and shoot and go. Now, it's lovely if you choose to learn the behind the scenes. That's a good thing. But you can do it without being a heavy tech person and do a decent job.
Yeah. There's another gentleman, content creator. He actually does, I'm not going to give his name, but Dr. Tachi will know who I'm talking about. He does almost every Saturday he does a 3-hour YouTube Q&A show, everything about YouTube. And he developed an app. He's always developing free apps, but I think he developed an app that was for pay, but he gave away some subscriptions. I won one of the subscriptions, but I didn't find out till after the fact. You can only do it on iPad. I don't spend all the time on my iPad, very rare. And now I'm waiting for him to create a desktop version of it, because I'm on desktop and laptop more than I'm on an iPad device. So right now, and I feel bad because I'm not using it. And I should actually, and I did say, hey, thank you for allowing me to use this for a year, but it'd be really great if you create a desktop model for this or desktop software for it. Then I can use it more, because I'm not a regular iPad person. I know things are made for mobile, but I'm also a desktop person. I prefer creating things desktop more than on the go, on the phone, or all that. No. So there's an example of me, a piece of software I'm not using, and I got it for free.
Exactly. Free doesn't always mean useful necessarily, and useful for you, because it may be useful for someone else. But that's why you have to assess your needs, what you actually need, before you go buying software, before you go buying apps, because AppSumo is the most delicious piece of marketplace. It will draw you in with wonderful apps and platforms, and you're like, I need this, and then you get it and you never use it.
Waste of money, waste of time.
It doesn't work well.
Yeah. So Ray says, agreed, monthly subscriptions are the better option. It may sound like a great app program, but not effectively meet your needs. Exactly. Like, I will tell people right now, of software right now that I use in the regular, it's less than, well, I'd say 10, but especially when it comes to AI these days, I use basically one AI software, and it encompasses everything that I need, from content creation, research, image creation, all in one space. So I don't have to go looking at all around the place. So, and that's been a great asset. And I was blessed to be able to get use of the pro version for a year for free.
See,
and that's the thing. It encompasses everything. Whatever I need in regards to content creation, it does it all in one shot. So definitely as a gentleman says, before you invest, investigate.
Yes. Can I go back really quickly to the AI thing? Oh, yes. Okay.
There we go. We're getting messages that you got to get off soon with a light bulb before we go.
Yeah, well, at least I have my other light. So
yes,
that one was on battery, so that's why.
Okay.
But and I just didn't plug it in, of course. So when it comes to AI, back to the whole conversation with AI, there is a whole slew of AI things out there now. What they're calling AI slop, right? Or AI junk, right? This provides a big opportunity for you. And I'm not saying don't use AI, because I've been taking AI filmmaking classes, and it has been phenomenal, because you're able to tell stories with these things, and it's not slop. That's the thing. You're creating something meaningful. But this also creates an opportunity for you to stand out by being real. Do live streams, actually record video. That really provides an opportunity for real, authentic bodies to take over the space. So while people are creating, and the thing is, it would be fine if you were creating something useful. I don't need to see somebody delivering pizza that you made through something that looks like a Ring camera. I don't need to see that. Cool that you can do it. So consider what's useful rather than this is cool. And guess what? I'm all for this is cool. I'm all for the artistic end of creation as well. But in the grand scheme of things, it needs to be useful and valuable to people. So aim for that rather than just making AI rubbish.
All right. One last conversation before we let you go and get some well-deserved rest. Food Plane says, how do you see the evolution of content creating in the next 5 years?
Lots of AI. We're going to see that, but there's already starting to be pushback. I keep looking at content and people are like, I'm so glad you didn't make this with AI. So there's already a little bit of pushback to it. There is embracing of AI because I love AI and I think it's great, but there's also a pushback to it, and it's because it's being used the wrong way. It's being used stupidly, as I just said. So I do think that there will be more. There'll be an evolution in the way people use AI to do that because of the pushback. People are going to listen, and I think we'll see it be used for more important things. Also, what was the question? What else?
Just says the evolution of AI, or evolution of content over the next 5 years. Sorry.
Okay, independent wins. Indie
Yes.
wins.
Yes.
The day for corporate media is done. And the big thing is the lack of trust. We don't trust you. None of us trust you. Even the people that used to be on corporate media don't trust you. And if you look, okay, case in point, here we go. I won't get too into it. So the conversation that DS saw the other day, you also came. We talked about the America's Next Top Model. I think it was called Reality Check inside America's Next Top Model. So I had a panel discussion with some wonderful people. There were 4 of us, and we talked about it from all different angles as much as we could in an hour and a half. So the overarching theme there was telling, for those of you who didn't see it, telling the story of inside America's Next Top Model and that type of thing. Inside there, or at the end, I won't spoil it. I will for this. So she said something. She said, and I can't wait for you to see what's in store for cycle 25. Now, I think, because there were 24 cycles of America's Next Top Model, I think she was saying it more metaphorically in terms of her next stage in the game is her cycle 25. That's what I thought. But if she really means cycle 25, sister, not after what happened with all of this. That's not happening. But her saying that, we don't need you anymore. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but the industry has changed so much that all of you're coming back, it's coming back around this with America's Next Top Model, why we may be interested in what happened then. This is not 2003 when you all started. This is not even 2011 or 2012. This is not in those days when legacy media was all we had. So that's what you aim to be on, or that's where you aim to be. So I really think that so I'm like, well, we don't need you anymore. The importance of something like an America's Next Top Model is done because now not only do we have social media, but independent media is pushing more on the scene. So what your standpoint and your way of doing things is done. It's over. Even you trying to come to this side, it's not going to work. And I'm not wishing for it not to work, but you don't understand enough about it for it to work for you.
Okay.
So that's what I think in terms of content the next 4 years. More AI, but more meaningful, purposeful AI, and less legacy media, more independent. Independent will have, I won't say there won't be any legacy corporate media at all, but independent will definitely have a stronghold in it. If you look at the numbers for YouTube and how they're overtaking cable systems,
absolutely,
that's all you need to see.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You were reading my alleged mind just to see what's going to happen to YouTube in the future, especially with what's went on in the last 24 hours with Netflix, Paramount, and Warner Brothers. It's going to be interesting to see if the current administration will come after YouTube.
Well, it's not even a if, it's a
Or
when.
what they're going to come to them with. Let me put it that way.
They're going to come to them with something. Let's remember, this is Google.
That's
Google is
right.
a bunch of tech bros.
There
Even though
you go.
YouTube seems separate, it is Google.
You know what's interesting, Dr. Tachi? How many people don't realize that YouTube is owned by Google?
Yeah, well, because remember, initially they were not. Google acquired them.
You know,
And so
Yes.
and
Go
they,
ahead.
even though it's Google and they operate in the same ecosystem, they still kind of operate separately.
Separately, yes, separate entities. Yes. Smart play.
It is, because people who don't use Google for anything, which is rare, but people don't use Google for anything really, they may be YouTubers or
Mm,
you watch YouTube, right?
mm. So Food
And
Plate
vice
says, nice.
versa.
Yeah, Food Plate says, nice to see you both. Have a great weekend. I appreciate asking and answering my questions. And he says, yeah, it says used to be Google Video. Okay. Okay. What's up for the weekend, Dr. Tachi?
Well,
Some rest.
yeah, I will rest. I don't know what this is. It's definitely something's caught in my throat, and I'm like, ah. But yeah, just kind of chill out. Depending on the weather, beach. I'm gonna try and get there
Nice.
early, lay out on
Nice.
the beach, because look, it's February. This in next month is spring break coming, and I'm not trying to be on the beach with all those spring break people.
Yeah, you got a point.
So I'm trying to get my beach days in before they all come for spring break.
100%. Yeah, 100. That is a good game. Oh, so Food Plane says YouTube used to be Google Video, then it became YouTube Video.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. All right. So there's all the places you can get a hold of Dr. Tachi. Indie Soup Media, the website, YouTube channel. Hit it and touch her directly via Instagram at @dr_TACHI. As always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button, like the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. You know about the Discord group, email me. You know, if you want to advertise your business product or service, email me. Mr. Knight, who hopefully will not be galling next month so much, will be back on Monday. There's his email address, Ryan Oneil Knight. That's Knight with a KN, not an N. You can touch base with me at taplink.cc/the DRVIBESHOW.com. And Ray McMillan says, great conversation. Thank you for all the insight shared, Dr. Tachi. Well,
Thank you.
And I should have said this at the front end, but Dr. Tachi is consented to be with us monthly on the last or the fourth Friday of each month going forward. So you will hear and see her presence more on a regular basis. So you can watch replays of this show on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro Caribbean Business Network on YouTube, and also Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. That's it. That's all. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Let's speak of Dr. Tachi will feel better. And for those tomorrow, a busy week. We have a positive, productive weekend. Primetime Saturday tomorrow with Aisha and Lala, 5 p.m. Eastern. Cesar Nadima Musa, 5 p.m. on Sunday. And then Black Men Can Talk on Sunday at 8 p.m. Black Canada Talking at 5 p.m. And then Monday, Donovan Martin Sr. at 8 a.m. So where most people relax on weekends, I guess I look at the opposite, sometimes do the opposite. Oh, Opal Inspired says, great info, Dr. Tachi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Food Plate has a buy emoji there. So we are done. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. God bless. Peace out. Keep the faith. Walk good. Hope you're feeling better soon, Dr. Tachi. Thanks again for everything that you do. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.